SpaBabies dreaming. They won it by 4 in the end.
American Anthem has taken off. American Anthem easily in the Woody Stevens.
Hi everybody and welcome to SpaBabies, presented by WinStar Farm. I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo, and Thursday's SpaBaby race is the 5th. Let's take a look at the field for this maiden special weight for 2-year-old fillies going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It's a big, bulky field, Nicole. It looks like a fun betting race.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are definitely some handicapping opportunities in this race. These turf sprints at Saratoga can be so tricky to decipher anyway. And then you make this a race for 2-year-olds, of course, limited experience, really kind of a puzzle to figure out. It's a fun race to look at.
We'll begin with a horse down towards the inside, the number 1, Talk Softly. This is a filly that showed some speed in her career debut on Belmont, but when you look at this pedigree, turf is probably what she wants.
Yeah, definitely. The dam was a stakes winner sprinting on the turf, taking the Franklin County at Keeneland. Further back, you find Champion Juvenile Filly and stakes producer Family Style. This one is geared for some precocity, especially on the grass.
Talk Softly by Malibu Moon, always well regarded. A $200,000 yearling purchase who sold up for $285,000 in March. Malibu Moon does well with 2-year-old first-time starters, 15% winners, and Talk Softly should show some speed from the inside for a very dangerous trainer in Christophe Clement. 9-2 on the morning line for Talk Softly, a logical contender. The number 2 is Serial, and a lot of eyes are going to be on Serial from the first U.S. crop of the great Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. And Animal Kingdom's already had a 2-year-old winner. This Saratoga meet has a stakes winning 2-year-old from his first U.S. crop. Of course, started his stud career during the Southern Hemisphere season in Australia, where turf is the predominant surface, is doing well with his first 2-year-olds down there. But this one from a little bit of a mixed bag female family, sort of.
Dam was a multiple stakes winner on dirt, but she was grade 3 placed on the turf. Serial is a half to Dewey Square, a grade 2 placed 2-year-old. Do you think this horse might benefit from additional distance down the road?
I really think she might, especially looking at what the barn usually does with their 2-year-olds. This is one where I would really advise people to take a look at the horses in the paddock and use a little bit of the eye test with this one. Is she built like a sprinter with kind of, you know, those big hindquarters, looking like she wants to get away from the gate quick? Or does she look a little bit more like a late developing, long-legged distance type of horse who's here for some experience? Definitely use the eye test with this one, I think. But certainly the Animal Kingdoms have won early and they can run on a little bit of everything, I think.
The number 3, Puttin' You on the News, is the only filly in the race with prior experience on the turf. She's by a very highly regarded young stallion named Violence, who's gotten off to a nice start.
Yeah, Violence, definitely. He already has the nice filly buy, sell, hold out there. They were very well regarded when they first came to the yearling sales last year, kind of big, stout horses. And Violence, of course, did his running on dirt, as did his sire Medaglia d'Oro. But when you look at it, it's the El Prado sire line responsible for so many good turf horses like Kitten's Joy. So I certainly wouldn't rule out Violence as the sire of a turf winner, especially considering the female family doubling up on this one.
Yeah, Putting You on the News is a half-sister to stakes winner Mississippi Delta, graded winner sprinting on the turf. So this horse has some pedigree. She was a little bit green in her debut. She showed some speed tracking the pace and then tired in the stretch. She figures to take some money. 3-1 on the morning line. Arad Ortiz has the mount. The number 4 is Layla Norah. And as we take a look at her pedigree card, boy, Layla Norah is bred to the 9s for grass. I just wonder if 5.5 furlongs is a little short.
That was sort of my first impression when I looked at Layla Norah as well. She's by Midnight Loot, who is a champion sprinter, but I actually don't rule him out as a distance sire. Bob Baffert always thought this one was going to go a little bit longer, be a classic horse, and then Midnight Loot had some throat surgery that sort of precluded that for himself. But I think he can throw a long-distance horse. And then, as you mentioned, looking at this one's female family, she'll be the first starter out of a pulpit mare who was a stakes winner and graded placed routing on turf. The second dam is multiple graded winner turf router Owsley, dam of 3 stakes performers. I think this one look for her to get her feet wet here, but she might be better on later in the meet when these races start getting a bit longer.
Really strong connections. Arnaud Delacour, Florent Giroux takes the mount 6-1 on the morning line for the 4. Layla Norah, who has that strong turf pedigree. The 5 is Fairy Link. Now, Fairy Link was only sold for $3,000 as a yearling, then went up to $10,000 as an April 2-year-old. This one's from the first crop of Datalink, who is a good turf horse.
Yeah, very, very good turf horse, especially around a mile. Some of his first 2-year-olds have come out looking very, very typical of what this sire line throws. Datalink is by Warfront, who's an internationally popular sire, has done very well with his 2-year-olds, especially over in Europe on the turf. So Datalink, the sort of sire who might fit in a spot like this.
And this dam's a half-sister to Demarcation, a multiple Grade 3 stakes winner, so she certainly has a little bit of pedigree. I wouldn't be surprised if she outruns her odds a little bit. 20-1 on the morning line. Joe Bravo takes the mount for trainer Peter Pugh. The 6 is Rayana Rhea Delight. This is a New York bred that did not do much running in her career debut on dirt, but now gets the surface switch and the addition of lasix, a $2,200 short yearling that sold up for $10,000 in June.
Yeah, her sire Utopia is a fairly versatile sire. The dam doesn't yet have a 2-year-old winner, but some turf stakes performers under the second dam. This one, as you mentioned, didn't impress in her debut, but might be eligible to move forward at least a little bit here.
Just seems like a tough spot. New York bred taking on some open foes off that dull debut. She's going to need to improve and do so in a hurry. The 7 is Lyrical Tale. This is a Tale of the Cat filly trained by Tom Morley, a $75,000 buyback as a yearling who impressed in March, selling up for $175,000 and is a half-sister to Thundering Sky, a nice horse on the turf.
Yeah, definitely. Thundering Sky, stakes placed as a 2-year-old, stakes winner later on. The dam turned in a good placing in her only start at 2 and was a stakes winning 4-year-old later on. That dam's a half to a graded winning 2-year-old. Tale of the Cat, good filly sire, solid juvenile sire. I think Morley came to play with his 2-year-olds this summer at Saratoga, and this one kind of looks like she fits in this spot.
I agree. Tale of the Cat brings some speed to the party, wins with 16% of his 2-year-old first-time starters, and you have some versatility and stamina on the bottom of this pedigree. We mentioned Thundering Sky, the Dam Stakes winner, as you mentioned, on turf and dirt. The 8 is Mermaid of Honor. Mermaid of Honor showed brief speed in her career debut, a race that was washed off the turf at Belmont Park. I can understand completely why Ralph Nix wants to run this horse on the turf. This is a big female family for the grass.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of European class deep in the family, and somebody really liked this cross when you look at it. Majestic Warrior, I think he brings a little bit of speed to the party. He's a son of AP Indy, who was a Grade 1 winner sprinting as a 2-year-old. This filly is a full sister to Prepper, who won once from 3 starts, that being a sprint. The dam's a half-sister to Fancy Point, who was a stakes-winning 2-year-old here at Saratoga on the turf. Fancy Point, the dam of Majestic Bonnie, also by Majestic Warrior, who was a 2-year-old debut winner on the turf, finished 3rd in the PG Johnson on the turf at Saratoga, and is still running well as a 3-year-old this year, stakes placed at Monmouth. So Mermaid of Honor from a cross that's been very productive as juveniles on the turf.
And she has that valuable experience from that career debut on May the 25th. If she breaks well, she might fall into a really nice trip tracking the leaders from the outside. Now, there's been a little bit of buzz surrounding the number 9, Sweet Offer. This is a filly by Candy Ride, trained by Mark Henning, who sold for $140,000 as a yearling, and she's a full sister to a really nice horse in Sydney's Candy.
Yeah, definitely. You can certainly see why there's buzz around this one. Sydney's Candy was a very versatile horse, running so well on a number of surfaces at a number of distances. He was a Grade 2 winner, going a mile and a 16th on turf, Grade 1 placed at a mile on turf, was a graded winner both sprinting and routing on synthetic surfaces, was a Grade 3 winner at a mile on dirt. This one also a full sibling to Sweet Swap, who was a Grade 3 winner sprinting on turf, today's trip. So really kind of just an interesting, versatile pedigree.
She'll pick up the services of Junior Alvarado, who is just a fantastic rider on the turf, especially. The 10 is Gio Game. This is the last horse in the body of the field, trained by Mark Cassie by turf champion Gio Ponti.
Yeah, and Gio Ponti certainly has gotten his stud career off to an interesting start. He's the sire of an Eclipse Award winner in Dre Fong, a dirt sprinter who's about as far from what you would think of Gio Ponti throwing, this wonderful, wonderful turf router who competed, in some big events so consistently. This one doubles down on the turf game, though, out of a more than ready mare who is a winner as a 2-year-old and the dam of a pretty nice graded performer on turf.
Yeah, this is a really solid pedigree. You mentioned isotherm. Gio Game's going to have to deal with an outside post position. She'll have to get into the game early to avoid being hung wide onto that first turn. But this is a really solid pedigree. Gio Game, a $47,000 yearling buyback, who then sold up for $160,000 in April. Okay, where are you going in this race?
Well, I think my two selections in this race are definitely going to have to overcome some post position woes here. I really like the Clement filly down toward the inside. I think she's very eligible to move forward, coming off, some really nice works as well. And then I'm also looking at Mermaid of Honor, who I think is also eligible to improve off the debut. She's going to have to get over a little to avoid being hung wide around that turn. But I really like this page. And, I think Ralph Nix is kind of a sneaky good trainer with some of these 2-year-olds. Where are you leaning?
This race kicks off the pick six, and for me, it is a spread. I'll be using one of your fancied horses, the number 1, Talk Softly. I'm going to give a look to the number 9, Sweet Offer, that full sister to Sydney's Candy. The 4, Layla Norah, a little bit concerned that this distance is short, but I wonder if she might be kind of the price play. 6-1 on the morning line. I'm hoping there's a little bit of speed infused from that Midnight Loot. My backup would be the very logical number 3, Putting You on the News, but I have a feeling that this one's going to catch some intriguing horses trying turf for the first time. It's really a fun race at Saratoga, the SpaBaby event on Thursday. We're presented by WinStar Farm, and we'll see you later this week.